Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to give you a breakdown and review of the new Netflix film starring the very topical, lately, Jennifer Lopez, called Atlas. So let's get to it. As the film begins on Earth in a somewhat distant future, it's 28 years after an AI assault against humanity, which killed 3 million humans, took place, led by a once docile AI being turned terrorist named Harlan, who was created by the mother of a woman named Atlas, and who fled Earth 28 years ago. Atlas, who's apparently a bit of a maladjusted person who deeply distrusts AI in adulthood, as well as a military analyst, is recruited into a military operation aimed at finding and dealing with Harlan amidst the military's continued fight on Earth against the still hostile AI beings, aka Technosapiens. She's able to determine Harlan's location from a newly captured TS that she very deftly interrogates before going off-world with a team of soldiers tasked with capturing Harlan alive so that his code can be examined and it can be determined exactly how he broke his programming. Before the mission can launch from orbit above the planet Harlan is on, however, the ship carrying the soldiers and the mech suits that they are each neural linked to, called ARCs, is attacked, and Atlas is forced to enter a mech suit, which then falls to the planet as the ship is destroyed in order to survive the attack. After she then survives the trip down through a crazy above-planet battle, she acclimates herself to her mech, the AI named Smith, aboard which she bristles against, despite its attempts to emotionally bond with her, and soon arrives on foot inside the ARC to the Rangers' drop zone to find them all dead, except the colonel in charge, where she is attacked by 6 TS soldiers, one of whom is a clone of the TS named Koska that she interrogated and destroyed earlier. She ends up killing 5 of the soldiers by use of an ion bomb aboard the ARC, which causes the formation of a sinkhole into which she falls along with the clone TS, breaking her leg, which is painfully repaired by Smith. Realizing that she has no choice if she wants to survive, she relents and uses the Neuralink aboard Smith, which begins to sync her with him for optimal tactical performance. Harlan, meanwhile, forcefully extracts something from the captured colonel via his eye. Atlas and Smith struggle to sync because of Atlas's psycho-emotional issues stemming from her difficult past, but as Atlas's trust of Smith grows, so does their level of sync, and they try to make their way to a rescue pod while pursued by Koska, whom she's able to destroy again by crushing his still-functioning head after blowing him apart with mines she'd left behind her. She then convinces Smith to allow her use him to walk to Harlan's base after its location is determined, instead of to the rescue pods so that the base can be tagged for long-range bombs that can be launched at it from space. After placing a beacon at the base, Atlas is discovered by Harlan's soldiers and attacked by another Koska clone along with other Technosapiens after Smith is hacked, at which point she's captured and brought to Harlan, who plans to destroy most of humanity so as to reset it and give it a new chance to thrive under AI guidance. It turns out that he lured Atlas and the military to his planet so he could steal a warship and a carbon bomb, which will burn Earth's atmosphere away. He then extracts some needed code from Atlas that, with the ones he got from the colonel, will allow him to carry out his plan, and leaves her with the colonel, at which point he helps her contact Smith, who causes her to disclose how it was that Harlan evolved, and it turns out to have been her fault, since she allowed him to alter the Neuralink to work both ways as opposed to just one way. Smith assures her that everything that happened subsequently was not her fault, and she allows them to sync fully, which enables them to fully cooperate to take on Harlan and his soldiers in order to stop the launch of the warship with the colonel's help in the form of a final sacrifice when he uses a giant gun to blow up a bunch of rocket fuel, taking down a bunch of soldiers at once. Atlas then manages to take out the warship before it gets too far away by blasting it out of the sky, while simultaneously risking igniting the atmosphere of the planet she's on when the bomb on board explodes, but Smith is able to hack into it and turn it off before she does, leading to a final fight between her inside Smith and Harlan himself, who plans to hack into her physically and get her to call another ship to come to the planet now that the first ship has been destroyed. With Smith's help, Atlas is able to defeat Harlan and remove his CPU before having to say a tearful goodbye to Smith as he powers himself down to help her survive long enough in the inhospitable atmosphere to be rescued. Once home, Atlas is informed by the military commander Booth that Harlan's CPU is being analyzed before test driving the newest ARC, created with her suggested modifications, some of which are apparently aspects of Smith's personality and his voice. And that's where the film ends. And you might see this exact plot breakdown on Wikipedia, but I'm not sure because I edited the Wikipedia page for this film to include this breakdown when I noticed that they didn't really have one beyond a very brief synopsis. And it said it was published, but then it disappeared. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I have to redo it. But anyway, if you see it there, it's not there because I copied it for this breakdown. It's there because I wrote it. Anyway, I really like this film. I think it was much better than Netflix's recent genre projects, both parts of Rebel Moon and Damsel. And I think, in fact, it was better than the recent film The Creator, which was also AI versus humanity themed. That said, I can't tell you that they reinvented the wheel with this movie. I can't tell you that it was mind-blowingly excellent because it isn't that, except in the area of the visuals. The visuals in this film are just incredible. It looks gorgeous. They did a very, very good job with the production design and the special effects and everything. It's just a gorgeous looking film that really makes you feel like the world that these characters are inhabiting is real and that the arcs are real. And the voice acting on behalf of the gentleman who plays Smith was just fantastic. You really believe that that character is real, a real artificial intelligence, a real highly evolved artificial intelligence. And that was just great to me. Jennifer Lopez is very good, as always, in her part. And, you know, at 54, still not hard to look at all. So I enjoyed her performance. I think you can tell that the people who wrote this movie were paying attention to their own story, which a lot of times writers of movies don't, at least not well. And they miss opportunities to really bring things home, to seed certain moments or feelings early in the film and then bring them home later when they revisit them or reconnect with those moments. And that happens in this movie through the use of visuals and through dialogue and through character development. And so I thought that was really good. But like I was saying earlier, they didn't reinvent the wheel. And, you know, what that means is that it, you know, covers a lot of ground in the story with the characters and the plot points that have been covered in other films, I, Robot, for example, The Creator, for example. So, you know, watching it, you will realize you've been down this road before and you've seen these things before. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with treading old ground as long as when you tread it, you do it, you know, well, and you do well by what came before. And I think this film does that, at least equally as well as what came before. It would have been really easy to make a movie like this that was heavy on the technobabble and technologically based plot points and an overuse of action and explosions and things like that. And it would have been easy to make this movie with characters that just went through the motions, but they didn't do that. There is a story at the heart of this movie, and it isn't your typical sort of thin action-based story, even though it's an action movie. There is a character-driven story here. There is an examination of the human condition here. There is an examination of issues that humanity is facing right now. And I think they did a decent job of those things. So I really liked this movie. I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. And I would recommend everyone give it a watch. And, you know, you might have to ignore recent stories or even not so recent stories about Jennifer Lopez that have been in the press in order to do that and enjoy it. But I trust you can do so.
I also trust that you can engage in a willing suspension of disbelief and ignore the one or two serendipitous things that occur in this film that make the plot able to go where it goes, that you kind of have to suspend your disbelief of to roll with.
But that's really it. I thought it was a good movie. 4 out of 5. Give it a watch. I'm going to get out of here for now. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.